You are watching Community Focus, a presentation of the Friends of MCTV. Our guest in this second segment is Kyle Bagnell, the Program Manager for Whiting Forest of Dow Gardens. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, John.
Kyle, we've been watching from a distance the construction of the Canopy Walk and the other additions to Whiting Forest for some time now. When will we be able to experience them firsthand in person?
Well, our opening week begins October 7th, which is a Sunday, and our hours are 9 o'clock to 6:30. So we hope people come out not only for that opening week, but of course from then on we'll be open to the public.
And what will we experience in the renovated Whiting Forest?
Wow, it's going to be quite different than you've seen in the past if you walked our trails and visited our little visitor center there on Eastman. So the main feature, of course, is the Canopy Walk, which is an elevated walkway starting at ground level. It's ADA accessible, 6 feet wide, mostly a wooden surface. So some places it's metal grating. It's 1,400 feet long, so it's the longest in the country. And it gets you from ground level up to 40 feet up in the air. You can experience things like a glass overlook with glass floors and glass railing, a huge cargo net to climb out on, 35 feet up in the air, a beautiful overlook of the pond, one of the 2 ponds that Herbert Dow dug on the property, and also pods to play in, kids' play structures, and just beautiful views of the forest. Lots of surprises, too.
That's the Canopy Walk,
That is the Canopy
which is going to be the centerpiece. There are other additions that we wouldn't have seen when we were here before.
Yeah.
Talk about some of those.
There are many other additions, actually. Probably the biggest is the renovation of the Whiting family home into a new visitor center. So the visitor center that people have known since 2004 is actually being transformed into the Whiting Forest Cafe, where refreshments will be available, and coffee and baked goods and sandwiches and things like that. That is right next to a playground, which is a 14,000 square foot playground, which has a lot of very fun features to tie you with the forest. And then going over to the visitor center, so the Whiting family home was built in 1949, and the family lived there for 30 years, and then donated the land actually to the city of Midland, along with the home. And it was used by Northwood University for a number of years as a rental and by MMI, Michigan Molecular. But now it's completely renovated, redesigned in the inside to be our Whiting Forest Visitor Center. And of course, it's an Alden Dow designed building as well. So Helen Whiting, she was Alden Dow's niece. So people will be able to enjoy that as well. And trails and a forest classroom and a restoration of the creek, including a lot of new tree plantings. People have seen that from Eastman Road as well. And some bridges that will link us to the library and additional parking, and also another bridge that will link us to the Rose Garden in Dow Garden. So a lot to see, John.
You mentioned those 2 passages over to the library and the Dow Gardens. Are those the 3 access points, the visitor center and those 2? And will they be, what will it cost to get in there? Will there be a pass? Will it be daily cost to get into the Whiting Forest?
Sure. So first of all, the cost is the same admission as to the rest of Dow Gardens. So we are Whiting Forest of Dow Gardens, just another part of Dow Gardens. So right now the yearly pass is $10 for an adult and $1 for a child or a student. Daily pass is $5 for an adult. The main ways to get in, we have a nice parking lot right at the Whiting Forest Visitor Center, and also one at our cafe. So you can directly access our sites from those 2 spots. Or if you'd like to walk over from the library or the Center for the Arts, you can park on that side, walk across that orange bridge, and find yourself at the back door of the Visitor Center. By January, the other bridge will be open, the one that leads to the Rose Garden. So if you're visiting Dow Gardens and you'd like to go over the St. Andrews Road and into Whiting Forest, you'll be able to access through that bridge by that time.
Sounds like a fantastic experience when we get there. October is when it starts, but it's open year-round.
It will be, yes.
7 days a week.
Yep.
And the hours changed as the seasons, or is it pretty much the same all year round?
The hours do change a little bit with the seasons. Basically, when it gets darker earlier, we start closing a little bit earlier. But when we open for the entire month of October, and it will be 9 o'clock till 6:30 in the evening, and then we change to a 4:15 closing a little later on in the fall and winter time.
You mentioned earlier, too, that the Canopy Walk is ADA accessible.
It is.
As are all of the trails, or most of the trails around.
We have about 1.5 miles of ADA accessible trails, including the Canopy Walk and our bridges. And then there's about another mile of trails that are wood chip paths that go through the forest that have been there before.
Well, where can our viewers find more information about the Whiting Forest of Dow Gardens?
Well, you can go onto our website. If you go on the Dow Gardens website, or if you type in Dow Gardens / Whiting Forest, you'll find us, or on our Facebook page. We're also on Instagram, so all of the places that people use social media, you can find us. Just type in Whiting Forest, we'll pop up, and hopefully it will link you to us virtually, and then you'll come out for a visit.
Well, thank you, Kyle, for that update on Whiting Forest. In our next segment, we'll learn about this year's iteration of the United Way campaign.